I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited about this day. And one of the things that when we talk about confidence, I often think about first grade girls. And I don't know how many of you have ever actually hung out with a first grade girl, but they are like super fierce human beings. Like if you have not hung out with a first grader and you want to know about confidence, go find one. They have no problem saying exactly what they think. And I remember being in a first grade classroom where I was shadowing a teacher trying to learn how to teach them, which is not easy. I had to give up after a while, actually, because it was so hard. But anyway, I watched one of these girls get excluded by her friends. And it must have taken her about 30 seconds before she just like spoke up right to the girl who was being mean. And she was like, that girl's being mean to me. And all the other girls were like, yeah. And it was like such a spectacular sight to see a girl speak up in that way. And yet, as girls get older, that is an increasingly rare phenomenon. That is because, as you've been hearing, as girls approach puberty, they lose their confidence. It's something that happens to them. And you see it when you're in the classroom. As a classroom teacher, what you see is you see girls going from being loud and silly and dorking out and singing the soundtrack to Frozen, which if you're a parent, you know what I'm talking about, to standing with their arms crossed, to kind of pretzeling their bodies, to pushing out their hip to one side, standing off balance. They go from saying what they think in class to raising their hands and saying, I'm not sure if this is right, but... And I'm sure many of you have heard that in meetings from adult women. I'm not sure if this is right, but, or speaking, using upspeak, where you make a statement sound like a question so that you don't offend anyone and maybe people still like you, even if you say something. Can you imagine if I did the whole speech like that? Worry not. Then another principal, an elementary school principal that I was also shadowing, she was trying to explain the phenomenon of what happens to girls in this way. She said, if you go into a first grade classroom and you say to the girls, who's the best runner in the classroom? They all raise their hand. I'm the best runner. She said, if you go into a fifth grade classroom and you say, who's the best runner? They'll all point to the best runner. And what I added was, if you go into a ninth grade classroom and you say, who's the best runner? There's often silence. And if they point to that ninth grade girl who is, she'll say, oh, no, I'm awful. I'm not good at that. So why won't she own her skills? What is going to push her hand into the air to say, you know what, I am a pretty decent runner and I love running? What is going to help her express her opinion without apologizing for it? That is why we're here today, and that is what Always is committed to changing. I'm also committed to turning the pages of my notes, but there we go. Okay. Always has done something that I've never seen a brand do before. They have taken the single most important, troubling, and quite frankly, challenging piece of research on girls, and they've turned it into a movement. This thing that's holding girls back, it's a precipitous loss of confidence, and it's something that emerges first in adolescence, and it stays with women throughout their whole lives. More than half of girls, 53%, ages 16 to 24, say that they lack the confidence to do whatever they wanted to do after puberty. Now, we think that confidence starts to crash just at the moment that girls become aware of gender norms. And so I want to do, because I'm a teacher, sorry, you have to do an exercise with me now. I'd like to do a little crash course with you in gender norms, and I promise you don't have to touch each other or anything. But I would like you to do something in your chairs, which is I'd like everybody to sit in their chairs the way you think a typical guy sits in his chair. And if you're wearing a skirt, you get extra points. Yeah, you guys look really good. Okay. And if you're a New Yorker, just imagine being on the subway. You know what I'm talking about. And now I want you to sit in your chairs the way you think a typical girl sits in her chair. When I ask you to sit like a guy, the whole room opens up like an accordion. I ask you to sit like a girl, everybody scrunches in. And you can ask even really young girls to do that exercise, and they know exactly what to do. And that is because they learn, girls learn, and they're told by our society what it means to be like a girl and what it means to be like a boy. And that exercise is obviously not just about your body. I mean, girls are told to hold in their opinions, to hold in their appetites, to hold in their feelings. They're told, as you just saw in the video, to be liked, right? You have to be la-di-da happy all the time, and to think about other people before yourself, and to give before taking. And girls are well aware of this pressure from the culture. Always did a survey, and they found that 79% of the girls who believed that society puts them into boxes think that if society stopped pressuring girls, they would be more confident. And I think, what happens during this time in girls' lives, and I see it all the time, is that girls lose exposure to the skills and to the experiences that build confidence. A girl doesn't get to speak up and tell her friend, you know what, I didn't like that comment you left on my Instagram post. Like, that just wasn't cool. Instead, what she does is she stews. She's angry inside, then she's resentful, then she kind of resigns and accepts it. That girl is not raising her hand in class to disagree with another student, especially if that student is more popular than she is. But instead, she's rehearsing what she wants to say. And I see this with college women all the time. Rehearsing, what am I going to say in this class over and over again? By the time they ever want to say it, the teacher's moved on to something else. These girls are not leaving their comfort zones to try new things because they're so afraid to stand out, and they're afraid to fail, and they're afraid to let others down by failing. And so what happens is girls learn to play it safe. They learn to do the things that they know they're going to ace, and then they never get to feel that exhilaration of mastering something just beyond their reach. For over 15 years, as the co-founder of Girls Leadership, a national nonprofit, as well as a teacher, a researcher, a curriculum writer, and an author, I have spent my professional life trying to build confidence in girls and young women. And one of the coolest things that I've learned is that confidence is not something you're born with. We think about confidence as this like magical thing. Either you have it or you don't. But the reality, as research is increasingly showing us, is very different. Confident is something we can all become by learning and practicing a set of skills. And I always say to my students, which also include adult women, skills are like muscles. The more we flex them, the stronger that they become. And this is why Always is launching a new confidence curriculum that I've been very proud to work on with them. And the key word here is curriculum. These are lessons. These are research-based, cutting-edge lessons for parents, educators, and girls. It's the biggest confidence education program that we have ever seen, and it will really help raise a generation of more confident girls. The curriculum will be incorporated into Always' long-term puberty education program, and it's going to reach 20 million girls in 65 countries, which really blows my mind. It's going to give girls the building blocks of confidence, helping them take positive risks, go out of their comfort zone, raise their hand and speak up, and discover their true potential. And I have to say that one of the best parts of this curriculum is that it's actually working with educators and parents. You have to work with the adults in girls' lives if you want to create sustainable change. So if you spend 5 minutes with me, you'll learn that I have a 3-year-old who's making my life challenging right now. And my 3-year-old daughter is extremely fierce, which is partly why she's making my life challenging. And one of the things that I love about how she challenges me is that she's never afraid to speak up. And she loves to try new things. And she feels so much joy when she figures something out on her own. And I'm afraid she will lose that. I am. Even with me as her mom, I am very afraid she will lose that. And I am really glad that Always is taking on this piece of research, this crisis, this challenge, so that my daughter and millions of other girls can be more confident. Thank you very much.